Welcome to the JTV Caribbean News. I am Sean Rose. Nomination day in Jamaica was marred by violence, with an opposition Jamaica Labour Party JLP motorcade shot at, leaving one man dead and others injured, along with clashes between supporters of the JLP and ruling People's National Party, the PNP, elsewhere. Gunmen opened fire on the JLP motorcade on the evening of Wednesday, February 10, police say. More than 40 spent shells were recovered from the scene. In the north-central Clarendon constituency, there was a clash between supporters of the two main political parties after the PNP's nominee, Desmond Brennan, and the incumbent Parnell Charles of the JLP arrived to be nominated at the same time. The groups threw objects at each other, forcing police and military personnel to intervene to restore order, as the candidates urged their supporters to be calm and refrain from violence. However, Director of Elections Orette Fisher said apart from those incidents, the nomination process went well. A total of 152 candidates were nominated, with the PNP and JLP fielding candidates in all 63 constituencies, and a few minority parties and independent candidates throwing their hats into the ring. Jamaica's general election will be held on February 25th. Former Chief Medical Officer in St. Lucia, Dr. Stephen King, is cautioning pregnant women against panicking over the Zika virus. Dr. King says the link between Zika and microcephaly is not scientifically proven. DBS's Don Nicholas has the details.
Dr. King's remarks came in the context of reports that 3 pregnant women in Barbados had contracted the Zika virus. According to reports, the 3 women have been notified of the results and have been counseled. Specialized care will also be provided to monitor the progress of their pregnancies. Despite that, Dr. King is saying to fellow St. Lucians, pregnant women in particular, do not panic. He says the link between the Zika virus and microcephaly, that's a medical condition where babies are born with undersized brains, is yet to be established.
First of all, I think earlier and previously I've said before that the whole association between Zika and microcephaly is as yet just an association. It is not scientifically proven at this point. So yes, we have to be careful, but we must not be panicked. That is my view on this matter. So I think we need to be very vigilant, very careful, and our pregnant women need to be careful. But I would not panic. So I don't think that we should make this assumption that because you have Zika virus, you're going to have and you're pregnant, you're going to have a baby that's going to be microcephalic or going to have some congenital anomaly. I think the jury is still out on that. And in fact, we know that the majority of women, even if they contract Zika virus in pregnancy, will not have a problem. Even in Brazil, as you know, when you look at the studies, the majority of women don't have a problem.
Meanwhile, the governor of Puerto Rico, Alejandro Garcia Padilla, has declared a public health emergency due to the presence of the Zika virus across the island. Health officials in the U.S. territory say at least 22 people have been infected with the virus. It was also announced that a price freeze has been ordered for products needed to prevent the disease. Health officials revealed that a pregnant woman in her first trimester was diagnosed with the virus. In addition, a man also diagnosed with the virus has developed a rare paralysis syndrome, sometimes associated with viral or bacterial infection. The health authorities said they will track the cases and report the results weekly. A statement issued by the government revealed that the virus is having an impact on the tourism sector, with some tourist groups canceling reservations, particularly weddings in hotels. Cancer cases in the Caribbean are on the rise and are affecting younger people. Cancer is the second leading cause of death in the region. Breast cancer is the main cause of death among females, followed by cervical cancer. Among males, the majority of cancer deaths are due to prostate and lung cancer. Colon and rectum cancer is the third leading cause of death in the region. Director of Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control at the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, Dr. Joy St. John, says the large number of deaths from breast and cervical cancer in the Caribbean is very alarming, since cervical cancer is largely preventable and breast cancer can be detected early and treated successfully. Participation in screening programs is strongly encouraged for the prevention of cervical cancer and early detection of breast, colon, and rectum cancers. Tobacco use, unhealthy diets, physical inactivity, and the harmful use of alcohol are common modifiable risk factors that contribute to the development of cancers. Research has shown that a reduction in the modifiable risk factors in the population will contribute to a reduction in cancer cases and, as a consequence, deaths and related medical costs. And finally, in this week's Caribbean News segment, researchers have for the first time successfully raised laboratory-bred colonies of a threatened Caribbean coral species to sexual maturity. The researchers of Seacorps International in Curacao disclosed the findings in the latest issue of the scientific journal Bulletin of Marine Science. Coral reef ecologist Valerie Chamberlain explained that offspring of the critically endangered elkhorn coral in 2011 were planted to a reef 1 year later, and in 4 years, in September 2015, the branching corals have grown and reproduced simultaneously with their natural population. This event marks the first ever successful rearing of a threatened Caribbean coral species to its reproductive age. Elkhorn corals reproduce only once or twice a year, generally a few days after the full moon in August. By using a restoration method based on sexual rather than asexual or clonal reproduction, the Seacorps method also promotes the formation of new genotypes that could potentially cope better with the conditions on modern reefs than their already struggling parents. Due to its large size and branching shape, elkhorn corals create vast forests in shallow reef waters that protect shores from incoming storms and provide a critical habitat for a myriad of other reef organisms, including ecologically and economically important fish species. An estimated 80% of all Caribbean corals have disappeared over the last 4 decades, and repopulating degraded reefs has since become a management priority throughout the Caribbean region. For the GTV Caribbean News, I'm Sean Rose.
And coming up next on JTV News, Representative for the 2nd District Melvin Mitch Turnbull announces plans to promote shared community development. Elder Gil Trott remembers African history at the annual wreath tossing ceremony. And Sophie B brings you the hottest places for your Valentine's dinner in our Hot Trends feature.